Well, folks, today we're going to be talking about a bunch of rumors and reports that are floating out there regarding the Switch 2, including the next Nintendo Direct. Now, we actually have a brand new rumor about the Nintendo Direct coming from an extremely unlikely place, but also one of the largest Nintendo content creators in the world who never does this and won't explain how he found out for obvious reasons, doesn't want to get anyone in trouble. But it's not just that they know a Nintendo Direct is coming. They apparently were told specific games, including the one big surprise that's going to be in the Direct. Now, again, rumor, and this is coming from someone with no real track record for leaks or rumors. But you're going to understand why we need to cover it when we get to it. Timestamps are down below, of course. Before we dive in, I just want to remind you, we are giving away 5 copies of that absolutely incredible looking Donkey Kong Bonanza. In order to enter, all you have to do is go down to the link in the pinned comment or the description. But before we get to the Direct rumor time, how about we talk about things like Final Fantasy 16 coming to Switch 2? We have this post over at Reset Era that's dealing with a video on YouTube, and they did some translations here, and it says Naoki Yoshida, the producer, and Kazutoyo Mahiro. I'm really bad at pronouncing Japanese. I'm just bad at pronouncing names in general. Anyways, the creative director just hinted at a Switch port of Final Fantasy 16 being worked on during today's Final Fantasy 14 live letter when they were plugging various CS3 things like 16 on Xbox, Evilus Chronicles, Soken's Dad Band concerts, etc. The conversation more or less goes like this. Yoshida brings up just Nintendo-san left after they plug the Xbox port, and Mahiro answers that he will do his best. They likely wouldn't bring this up if it wasn't seriously being considered and or worked on. There's a timestamp there as well. We'll link to this, below. It says, obviously this isn't an official announcement, but I think it's hinting that they do have plans and would track with what the company as a whole has been saying this entire year, which, in case you guys forgot, Square Enix has been saying they're done with making things exclusive to platforms. Everything's multi-platform. This would just fit with that rhetoric. They brought it to Xbox. Why wouldn't they bring it to Switch 2? Now, the question is if it's possible. Yes, I do believe it is, but will require further optimization. Remake and Rebirth will be somewhat easier to port as they are Unreal Engine games, but 16 already has DLSS support on PC, so they can lean onto that to some extent. We can end up being some of the Series X, and then we have, obviously, Yoshi P is wearing a very stylish earring. The twins matching ear cuffs and are now available to pre-orders merch. Anyways, the point is that, it looks like they're at least planning, I'm not saying it's going to happen, but planning to bring Final Fantasy 16 to Switch 2, which, again, is no surprise given they're already bringing Final Fantasy 7 and Rebirth, and obviously going to probably be the third one as well. Now we have this really weird one about, again, another rumor coming from a well-known Arab journalist who is basically saying that some PlayStation exclusives are coming to Switch 2. That's, what does that mean, right? Let's look at the report since I don't really understand the tweet itself. We'll go to Gaming Leaks and Rumors subreddit here. It says, I saw a comment from veteran Arab gamer Omar Alamodi, who has over 20 years in the industry, hinting that a major PlayStation exclusive from this generation is coming to Nintendo Switch 2. And we got to remember, we already know about Final Fantasy 7 and all the rest, those ones we already know about. So what could this be? A major PlayStation exclusive. Maybe even more than one. That's the big hint there. Just to clarify, I hope journalists don't quote me. I'm just sharing what I saw from his comment. If anyone here has more info or thoughts, you can share me, which of course the person's going to be quoted. It could be a third-party exclusive, possibly. There's the Stellar Blade stuff, Lies of P, although Lies of P was already on Xbox, I believe, so that wouldn't really be a PlayStation, IP or exclusive. Death Stranding 2, some people said maybe Death Stranding, of course, which already made its way to Xbox. So again, it's got to be something that, if you're going to say this, has to be something that hasn't gone to Xbox yet, in my opinion. So I don't really know, obviously, what this could be. Maybe it is something like, Death Stranding 1's coming over, and Death Stranding 2 has actually been in the works for Switch 2 the whole time. I guess that's always possible. I don't know how good of a relationship Nintendo has with Kojima, but I don't know. Look, there obviously could be a lot of different things. It's hard to know. And what's also hard to know is the truth behind this new report and rumor that it looks like There was at one point going to be a third Mario and Rabbids game, but now we can pretty much put the kibosh on that ever happening. Not that we didn't know with the main director and all that leaving Ubisoft, but we basically have confirmation. Again, I'm saying basically because there's a lot of context missing here, but it says Ubisoft's Mario plus Rabbids team, which is Ubisoft Milan, pitched a new game concept before disbanding, but the proposal was rejected by Ubisoft. And there's a bunch of different sources on this, but here's the quotes that matter for anyone wanting to know the main part. During the latest episode of the Game Business Show on YouTube, host Christopher Dring and co-host Chris Planty talked about the market data for Nintendo Switch 2 around third-party games. Dring brought up the development team behind Mario plus Rabbids series, noting that it has largely disbanded. Although Ubisoft Milan still exists, he mentioned that the people behind the series have gone and formed a new studio. Dring also said that he's aware of the Mario plus Rabbids team pitching a new game in the series that didn't get approved. He doesn't know why this was the case, but it's something that didn't go forward. And he believes the reason was tied to Nintendo. It's possible that Ubisoft was looking to publish a multi-platform title, and Nintendo wasn't interested in pursuing a venture of that nature with its Mario IP. Now, again, there's a lot of speculation there. It's their speculation that Nintendo wasn't cool with it. All we know is that Ubisoft didn't approve it. You know, whatever. Hey, it kind of sucks. I got to be completely honest. It really, really sucks in general when this happens because Mario plus Rabbids series is fantastic. And if they had just listened to Nintendo in the first place, Sparks of Hope might have had a better chance being a year one game here, maybe even a launch game for Nintendo Switch 2. But it is what it is. We can't go back and fix history. What we can do is go forward, and it looks like we're going forward with a possible Nintendo Direct. Now, I have mentioned before that I thought there could be one in June, but also that after the latest DK Bonanza Direct, despite how amazing it is, we absolutely need to have one by the end of July. Why? Because we just don't have release dates for anything after Donkey Kong Bonanza. Like, that's the chief thing. We need release dates for games. We need new game announcements as well, because as hype as DK Bonanza is, that comes out in a few weeks. So what are we looking forward to after that? And I know we can go, hey, enjoy the moment. And I agree. Enjoy the freaking moment. DK Bonanza is going to keep me occupied for a while. But the reality is that the consumer base is quite large, and you always have to let them know what's coming next, especially for those that might not be interested in Donkey Kong Bonanza. Well, it looks like we might not have to wait long, as we have a rumor from somebody who is not someone that you would expect to hear anything from. We're talking about beat 'em ups. If you guys don't know who he is, I don't know what rock you live under watching Nintendo content. He's literally the largest Nintendo content creator in the world that focuses just on Nintendo, or primarily Nintendo. He veers off a little bit, but Beat 'em Ups, aka Wood, he is not someone who dabbles in the rumor sphere. He's not someone who dabbles in the leak sphere. When he even talks about it on his Nintendo podcast, one of the largest Nintendo podcasts in the world, he often doesn't even really seem to know the full context of the rumor or the history behind it. So he's not someone who even pays a lot of attention to the rumor and leak sphere. But when he says he knows a Nintendo Direct is happening, people are going to pay attention, not just because he's really large, but because he doesn't do this. So why is he doing it now? Well, he must be fairly confident in the information that he's got his hands on and where it came from and all of that. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to go over here and listen to what he said on the Nintendo podcast. We have the timestamp right here. Let's give her a listen.
You will. All right. There's going to be a Nintendo Direct next month. In July.
How do you know?
I can't tell you. I just said I can't tell you how I know. You know how I know, but I can't tell you how I know.
Okay.
Here's what we're going to see. Metaphor.
Oh, hell yeah. That's actually perfect for the system.
I know. Although now I'm worried it's going to be a game key cart because the Raidu is Atlas as well.
Well,
everything's a game key cart.
But Metaphor is a huge download. And I think it's a $70 game.
Then they should do physical.
They should do physical.
Atlas, if you're listening. This one's obvious for a Direct, but we're gonna get GameCube Shadow drops.
Oh, thank God!
And
it needs more.
I heard it was Pokemon Coliseum was one.
No.
Mm-hmm. Not Gale XD. That's coming later. They're doing one at a time.
They're still sick. That's pretty dope.
This one. I don't know about this one. It's just what I was told. Death Stranding Director's Cut S.
I can see Death Stranding coming to the Switch
Well,
too.
the new game's coming out too soon.
Okay.
This one's also obvious, I feel, but Witcher 3 Nintendo Switch 2 edition.
Okay, yeah.
They also just added cross save and cross play to Witcher 3.
Are they gonna charge $10 for it? Or like?
I mean, I don't know specifically.
But they're
I
known
haven't been told specifically.
Okay, but they're known to.
But I would guess so.
They give free updates. Even the PS4 got like I think it was a free PS5
Yeah, but with
update.
the Switch 2 editions are actual like releases that will get like a physical.
Okay.
So I mean, I don't know if they're gonna add anything to it or they're gonna add like motion controls like they did for Cyberpunk, but
That'd be cool.
they already have the engine
You
in
swing
place.
your sword and stuff.
Obviously, the main reason for this direct is to like refresh everybody. I don't know if it's coming before Donkey Kong or after Donkey Kong, but to refresh everybody with like what's coming out for the rest of the year. Included in that is Metroid's release date,
Oh, let's go.
which obviously we need.
Yeah, we need that.
And then, as far as I'm aware, the one more thing is supposed to be just a teaser card. I heard Isabel's going to show up, and it's going to tease a card Animal Crossing coming out in 2026.
People are gonna lose their minds.
That's everything I heard.
Damn.
So,
There you guys go. Just to recap that list, because he went over quite a few things there. Metaphor ReFantazio, one of the best games of the year to come out last year. A Shadow Drop for GameCube, Pokemon Coliseum, Death Stranding, Director's Cut S, which I think is a great start to start getting more of Kojima's games over. Witcher 3 Nintendo Switch 2 Edition, which to me wouldn't be that shocking. These are the people that brought us Cyberpunk, right? They brought us Witcher 3 on the Switch. Makes some sense, especially with Witcher 4 being their next big project. Metroid Prime 4 release date. I think, in case you guys didn't know, there was this thing where there's a poster out in London that went up that said Metroid Prime 4 is out now. This is like official media, but it's not. It kind of suggested that Metroid Prime 4 Beyond might be the game coming after Donkey Kong Bonanza, so maybe it's the August game. We'll see. Could be September, of course, but either way, I think it's in the next few months. One more thing is that Animal Crossing teaser, which people would go absolutely insane over an Animal Crossing teaser, having Animal Crossing coming this soon in the generation in 2026, because that sets up things like, DLC and other content to be added for years to Animal Crossing, because Animal Crossing is a once per generation game, just like Smash, just like Mario Kart. So having those two that early, that also kind of tells me if Animal Crossing is next year, assuming that this rumor is true, that I don't expect Smash Bros. To be next year. Smash Bros. Must be like 2027, which could make some sense that maybe you want a small break between finishing up Kirby Air Riders and still working on Smash. They probably have a team working on Smash right now, but you know what I mean? Like spacing things out a little bit. I could see that. And then there's still years and years of DLC content they could do for Smash, even if it releases in 2027. But who knows? They could also drop Smash and Animal Crossing in the same year, which would just imagine like if Smash was next year and a new 3D Mario and Animal Crossing and Pokemon Gen 10 all in the same year. Like that is a insane lineup without even considering anything else that could possibly drop next year. An Ocarina of Time remake, perhaps. Luigi's Mansion. Like, I could just keep going on and on. That's the thing about a new generation. There's so much that could be done. And the first two games that are releasing this generation, the big ones from Nintendo, are ones that didn't even get new games last generation. We didn't get a new Donkey Kong game. We didn't get a new Mario Kart, unless you want to count Home Circuit. So, yeah, man, like, it's kind of insane that we're already really excited about Switch 2 as it is. And we haven't even gotten the new stuff. Even Metroid Prime 4 Beyond. Like, yeah, it's coming to Switch, but, we waited the whole generation for that game. And that might be what's next. So all the games that like made things so incredible on Switch haven't even got the new iterations yet. That's what's wild to me. So I know Metroid Dread. We can talk about Metroid Dread. Obviously, that was on Switch, but side-scrolling, right? Look, guys, I'm really, really excited for the future of Switch 2. We're kicking it off with all these IPs that didn't really do much on Switch in terms of like new stuff, and now bringing in some of the old, getting the Animal Crossings coming back around, the 3D Mario's coming back around, Zelda eventually here in a few years. I'm really excited for the future of Switch 2. Again, I don't know how much we could trust Woodhawker here, the guy who runs the Nintendo podcast and beat 'em ups. I don't think he's the kind of person that would be throwing this out there unless he was fairly confident in the source. He does note a few minutes later in the podcast where he's like, hey, like, this might not be real, but he is also somebody who doesn't bring this stuff up unless he's pretty confident. That's sort of one of those things where, while he's not trying to stake his whole reputation on this because he's not a leaker, he's not an insider, he doesn't do this, he literally wouldn't bring this up otherwise. He is one of the biggest Nintendo content creators in the world. He gets DM'd and emailed bunch of like fake shit all the time, right? Like it's very obvious why he would just ignore most of that, but he's not ignoring this one for some reason. And he confidently said at the beginning, I mean, he might not sound like he's as confident in the game lineup, but he confidently said at the beginning, there's a Nintendo Direct in July. Like, no hesitation. Just there is one. I know it, and I can't tell you why I know it. So he is saying that part. He's very much, he knows a Direct. The game lineup, he's a little more shaky on, but maybe it's a different source for the game lineup. I don't know. What I can tell you is I'm really excited for the prospect of a Direct in July. This feels much more concrete anyways than Brazil, who has now retired from being an insider. But again, Beat 'em Ups has no reputation here for doing this stuff. So we'll see if there's a Direct in July. We heard it first from Beat 'em Ups claiming he knows it's in July. If Animal Crossing's there and all these other games, oh boy. Beat 'em Ups just got himself one hell of a source, because it would have to be a source that's probably putting together the Direct or editing the Direct or has seen the Direct, because it's got third party and first party news coming from him. So anyways, folks, I am Nathaniel Rabbids from Nintendo Prime. We'll see what happens. Nintendo also doesn't like when things leak out, so maybe all those games are still in there, but they change the order of them in the Direct, so maybe they don't end with Animal Crossing, they start with Animal Crossing, just to kind of change it up. But, you know, we'll see what happens. I will catch you guys in a live stream tonight. Yes, folks, I will be live tonight. I know it's been a couple of days. We'll talk about what's been going on behind the scenes. We'll talk about some of that stuff tonight. I don't want to get too deep into some things, but I do need to have an honest conversation with my live stream audience on where I've been, and obviously with you guys. I haven't put out a normal video until this one in a few days. I know we had a Donkey Kong video yesterday, but that wasn't one of my normal videos. It wasn't a news or a rumor video. Really, since the Donkey Kong Direct happened and our podcast, there's just been a lot going on, and I don't want to make any excuses. This is a huge time for Nintendo content creators, but you know, big thing, and this is something we're going to go over tonight, and I don't want to make a big deal. I just want to tell you guys, please take care of your mental health. Okay, it's very important that you do that. It's very important that I do that, and I needed to take some days off here. Just to kind of reset myself and refocus and get back to what I'm doing best. And that's bringing amazing content to you, being a great dad to my kids, being the, fiance, husband figure, whatever I can be to my fiance, and doing the best I can for my friends. So thank you guys for understanding. We're back now as of today. Enjoy this video, and I'll catch you guys tonight on a new Nintendo Prime Live.